Hi everyone, my name is Busari Abiodun. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss about conceptual framework, under which we are going to look at the areas covered by the framework. According to the conceptual framework, we are going to look at the objectives of the financial statement, underlying assumptions of the financial statement, qualitative characteristics of the financial statement, definition, recognition, and measurement of the financial statement are still being stipulated out by the conceptual framework. So let's look at the conceptual framework. In the last video, I discussed about the International Accounting Standard Committee, which is a body that is responsible for the setting out of accounting standard. So this committee in 1989 produced a document called a framework. So this document was released, so like I said, by the defunct International Accounting Standard Committee, which is now known as IFRS Foundation, to set guidelines for the preparation of financial statement. That's the reason why at times this statement is called conceptual framework. So now, what is conceptual framework? Conceptual framework can be described as a set of principles designed to help in the development of accounting standard. And this framework we are talking about, it forms the model under which accounting standards are developed. So what are the areas? So why conceptual framework? So I will take you into some of the reasons why there is conceptual framework. The first one is that it assists IASB in developing future accounting standard and reviewing the existing one. Secondly, to guide the preparer and users of financial statements on the topics not covered by the standards. There are some areas in which standards has not been released. So the preparer will follow the guideline of the conceptual framework to treat those items. So also it makes it easier for users to read and understand financial statement. While the last one I will be given is that it helps to bring consistency to accounting standards. Now, what are the areas covered by the conceptual framework? So the conceptual framework covers the following area. The first one is that it discusses about the objectives of the financial statement. The second one, underlying assumptions of the financial statement. The third one, qualitative characteristics of the financial statement. While the last one, this framework discusses about the definition, recognition, and measurement of the element of the financial statement. We shall be taking these areas one after the other. The first one, objectives of the financial statement. Like we all know, like was said earlier, that the primary objectives of the financial statement is to assist users in decision making. Now, what does the framework say? According to the framework, the primary objectives of the financial statement is to provide financial information about the reporting entity that will assist the users, potential users such as creditors. Creditors are after the liquidity ratio of an entity, that is the ability of an entity to convert current assets into cash, ability of them to be able to pay off the short-term debt. And the investors, who are the people who want to invest into the business, they are after the profitability ratio of the business. So we have the employers, we have the government who wants to collect tax. They want to know about the profitability of the business, and also the public. Now, the second one, which is underlying assumptions of the financial statement. So according to the framework identified two assumptions, so which are the accrual concept and going concern concept. So what is accrual concept? If you are talking about accrual concept, this states that transactions are to be recognized when they take place and not when they are paid for. So that is, in accounting, we recognize transaction when transaction takes place, not when money is being paid for. So such transactions are to be recorded for the accounting period they are related. While the going concern concept is of the aim that the business will continue to operate for unforeseeable future. That is, the business will continue in their operation. So accounting is prepared in this time. So in a situation whereby a business is about to liquidate or to fold up, so there is a way in which such financial statement must be presented in order not to mislead the users of the financial statement. That's the reason why a financial statement that is prepared on going concern basis gives users assurance that the entity is not in the blink of liquidating or folding up in a time soon. So qualitative characteristics of the financial statement. In my video under the introduction to bookkeeping and accounting, I discussed about the qualities of good accounting information. That is, before we can say that an accounting information is good, so there are some qualities that such information must present. So all those qualities are what are being grouped under the qualitative characteristics of the financial statement. So what does the framework say? The framework said about the qualitative information of the financial statement. So these are the features that made up good accounting information. They are those attributes that are contained in an accounting information that help users in making accurate decisions. And these attributes can be grouped into two. We have the fundamental attributes and the enhanced attributes. So what is fundamental attributes? So fundamental attributes, according to the frameworks, are attributes that helps to separate useful information from non-useful information. So under the fundamental attribute, it can be subcategorized into two. We have the relevance and faithful representation. That is, under the fundamental attribute you have relevance. If you are talking about relevance, that is, the information that must be contained in a financial statement must be relevant to assist users in making accurate decisions. That is, irrelevant informations are not to be contained in a financial statement. In account, there is a way in which you can produce those information, but not to include them in a financial statement. So that's the reason why relevant information, according to the framework, are those information that help the users to assess the past and present activities of an entity and make good economic decisions. So if you are now talking about faithful representation, this is otherwise known as reliability in accounting. So according to the framework, a financial information is said to be reliable if it presents the true and fair view of an entity. That is, there is no misleading information. That is, it actually presents what an entity is, not by overstating or understating any part of the entity. So there are certain principles to be observed before a financial statement can be said to be faithfully represented. So these include: one, the substance over form, neutrality, completeness, and prudence. So substance over form. If we are talking about substance over form, so this aspect is referring to the future economic benefits that may be derived due to financial information, while the form is referring to the legal record of a transaction. So which means in a financial statement, the substance should be paramount prior to the form we are talking about, which has to do with the legal aspect of the financial statement. So neutrality, if you are talking about neutrality, so the features means that the financial statement must be neutral, must be free from error, must be free from biasment or personal opinion, must be objective in nature, must not be subjective. That's what neutrality is talking about. If you are talking about completeness, that is, a good financial information must be complete to aid users in understanding decision making. That is, all the necessary information must be present. Any information that is absent or removal will mislead the users are not to be removed in a financial statement. So if you are talking about prudence, the information provided in a financial statement must reveal true and fair value. That is, prudence in this context, in the context of accounting, is that the true value must be presented. The true worth of an item must be presented. For example, if the book value of an item book value is 10,000 naira and the real value maybe at the market of that asset is 8,000 naira, for the sake of prudency, so an account can go with 8,000 naira, which gives the business assurance that if such item is put on sales, at least they will be able to acquire that exact amount. So enhanced attribute. If you are talking about enhanced attribute, these attributes help to differentiate more useful information from less useful information. So enhanced attribute can be subcategorized into two. We have comparability and understandability. If you are talking about comparability, a good financial statement must be easy to be compared with other financial statement, like the previous year's financial statement. So a good financial statement must also be easy to be compared with similar financial statement from other entity, other business who are in the same line of operation with the business. That's what comparability is talking about. We are into year 2021. If we pick up a financial statement of year 2020, we should be able to compare with 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. That is what comparability is talking about in accounting. If you are now talking about understandability, a financial statement must be presented in a way that will be easy for the users to understand. And in the case of understandability, if there is technical information that its removal may mislead the users of the financial statement, such information must not be removed for the sake of understandability. The last one, which is number 4, is definition, recognition, and measurement of element of financial statement. So in every accounting standard being released, this number 4 must be presented. That is, in that standard, the item being discussed must be defined, whether it meets up the definition criteria, how do we recognize the items, and how do we measure the items. This is what the number 4 is talking about. So before we go into the recognition and measurement of the element of financial statement, let's look at what element of financial statement are. So the element of financial statement, according to the framework, can be classified into the following. We have the assets, we have liabilities, we have equity, we have income, and expenditure. So now let's take this element according to the conceptual framework, how they are being defined. If you are talking about assets, these are economic resources owned and controlled by an entity as a result of past events, and from which future economic benefits are expected to flow back to an entity. To a layman language, and for a simple understanding, if you are talking about asset, that is the property, the item that belongs to an entity, is what is called assets. But according to the framework, this is the standard definition for an asset. Why? A liability is an obligation that arises as a result of past events, and the settlement of which will result into an outflow or reduction in the value of an asset. So if you are talking about liability, to a layman language, liability means debt. Any debt that the business is owing is liability. So according to the framework, the settlement of that debt will lead to an outflow, which means the money being paid to settle those debts and or reduction in the value of an asset. So now equity. If you are talking about equity, equity is the excess of assets over liability. That is, assets, just like I said, everything that belongs to you. Liability, what you are owing. Immediately you remove what you are owing from what belongs to you, the remaining one actually define your worth, which is what equity is talking about. So according to the framework, it represents the stake of the owners and other contributors who place their resources for the successful operation of the business. Now, what is income? Income is described as to represent an increase in economic value of the current period as a result of an increase in assets based on inflow or decrease in liability, which in turn increases the equity value of an entity without direct contribution to the equity by the equity holder. Which means when we are talking about income, so it has to do with arises as a result of inflow, so without, which in turn increases the equity value without contribution or increasing the value of equity by the equity holder. Just like I said earlier, that equity is the excess of assets over liability. A situation whereby there is an increase in the value of the equity without contribution being made by the equity holder, so that increase is regarded as income. While expenses, this is a decrease in the economic value as a result of outflow or decrease in assets or increase in liability, which in turn leads to decrease in equity of a business without direct decrease in equity by the equity holder. That is anything that brings about reduction in the value of the equity is regarded as expenditure. Now that we discuss about the elements of the financial statement, now let's take them one after the other. The recognition, how do we recognize an item and how do we measure them? So recognition, this describes how items that meet definition criteria of an element of financial statement are to be incorporated into the statement of financial position, which is otherwise known as balance sheet. Statement of financial position is previously known as balance sheet, while profit and loss account is not known as income statement. So what are the criteria? Like we said, whether they meet up the definition criteria. So what are the criteria of an element to be recognized in the financial statement? The first one is that it is probable that future economic benefits related to the items will flow back to an entity, just like we define an asset. So wait a minute, before we can recognize an item as an asset, there must be probability that future economic benefit will flow back to an entity. Why? The second is that the item has a cost or the value that can be measured reliably, which means any item that does not have value will cannot be recognized in account. Now, there are stages for recognition. So we have the initial stage, we have the subsequent stage, and we have the recognition stage. If you are talking about initial stage, we are talking about the time the item, in case of the asset, is acquired. So how do we recognize them? So item is recognized at cost, which is regarded as historical cost at the initial stage. Subsequent stage, that is after a year, the following year, the third year, how do we recognize such item? A situation whereby we have a building, maybe part of the building is collapsed, how do we recognize the item? So that's what the subsequent recognition is talking about, while the recognition stage is talking about a time that the value of the asset has been lost or the asset is being disposed of. How do we recognize? The recognition means taking out the item out of the book. So now, measurement of the element of financial statement. So measurement of the financial statement deals with the monetary value of the element of the financial statement. It involves how an element is to be recognized and recorded in the statement of financial position, which is otherwise known as balance sheet, or in the income statement, which is otherwise known as profit or loss account. So according to the framework identifies 4 basis of measurement, which are the historical cost, current cost, realizable value, and the present value. If you are talking about the historical cost, this is the amount of cash or cash equivalent which is used to acquire an asset or charge to settle an obligation in the case of liability. Just like I said earlier, the amount that is being used to acquire an asset, the amount that is being used to pay for an item is regarded as historical cost, while the current cost are value at cash or cash equivalent amount of acquiring such asset during the accounting period. Which means if you are not talking about the current cost, we are talking about what the item worth at the moment. So that's what the current cost is talking about. Why the realizable values or settlement value, realizable value or settlement value as defined by the framework is the amount that will be realized by selling an asset, while the settlement value refers to the undiscounted amount that will be required to settle an obligation in the case of liability. So which means we are now talking about realizable value, we are talking about an amount that we will realize if we put that item in case of the asset into sales. So the difference between the current cost and the realizable value is that the current cost is talking about what the asset worth in the market, while the realizable value is talking about what people are ready to pay for the asset at the moment. While the present cost, this refers to the present value of an asset based on the discounted amount. We have been depreciating the asset over year. What is the net book value? That is what the present cost is talking about. That is all about the conceptual framework under which we've looked at the objectives of financial statement, we've looked at the underlying assumptions of the financial statement, we've looked at the qualitative characteristics of the financial statement, and the fourth aspect, which is definition, recognition, measurement of the financial